we're going to talk about 3 years out, you're in a job and all of a sudden, boom, you're blindsided with job loss. This will result in the most difficult of job searches. It's called unexpected disruption of employment. I mean, it came out of nowhere. And now you're in the middle of a job search. So what do? This is to build on the knowledge we did with high activity process-based job search. And now say, okay, how would I deploy it under real life and actually stressful situation? And this is also a reason why we have lifetime membership. And this is, for the life of the course. However long the course is alive, you'll have access to it. Because if, God forbid, 3 years, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, you were involved in, let's say, a layoff, and it hits you like came out of left field, bang. You want to make sure that you can react to it. And I want you to be able to go into the cloud, get this lesson, go through it, and from this basis, get a more effective and powerful launch to your next search or to that search. So here's the scenario. You're working for a great employer. You have a meeting with your boss. You kick off the meeting, giving her an update on the assignments you're working on. And you're also suggesting, hey, from here, I think I ought to do this, and I'd like to dig into this over here, and I think this is going to be great. And you see she's got this troubled look on, and she says, wait, hold on. I am so sorry about this. But the company is being forced to downsize a bit. And unfortunately, your job's being eliminated. It's really been great working with you, and this isn't your fault. And I'm sure you're going to land in a good place. And I hate doing this. I didn't get any sleep last night knowing I was going to do this. Well, you're stunned. Immediately, you begin thinking. And as you're thinking, all of a sudden this thing called self-talk starts working in your head. And the way that works, if someone's talking to you, you can self-talk at 3 times the rate. So you can go ahead and start, commenting to yourself on what's happening. So immediately, the self-talk begins. And you start going, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose my paycheck. What am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills? I mean, what's the condition of the job market? How long will I be out there? Will I be successful in getting a job as good as this one? Why me? Why didn't they lay off these other people over here? Why me? This is real life. And today we're going to pull together everything that we've learned, and we're going to apply it to this high activity process-based job search after you have just been blindsided. Okay. So how do you earn multiple job offers? Remember, it's not only from your first search, but every subsequent search over the arc of your career. So this one assumes you've had the job, you've been in it for a few years, and now you're launching another search. So again, every search, you want to have multiple choices yielded from that search. These are vital skills in the new economy. Completely vital. Why? Well, you've learned that you're going to have more jobs than previous generations. Than those before you. You're going to be, your career's going to be a little bit more turbulent. And jobs are no longer careers. We've gone through this, but they're 2 to 4 year career stepping stones. So you've got to be careful about it, and you got to make sure that this next choice that comes out of this search is the next great career stepping stone on the way to the greatness you're envisioning. And with that, being great at job search is absolutely critical. And every job search you do, you get a chance to become greater at the process itself. This one's no exception. These skills work both externally. I've just been laid off. I got to find something else. Or if you want to, let's say you're in a company and you want to move up and over, they can be used internally. So these skills are incredibly valuable. But the toughest search is this one, unexpected disruption of employment. It wasn't like you're thinking of getting out of here, so you're preparing, you're talking to people along the way. You might have a couple of prospects of where you're going to go. I mean, you got blindsided. This is the toughest one. The last time I got canned, I was living in Silicon Valley. I was a senior vice president of worldwide sales for a storage startup. So all the data that was stored on big servers and all that, we had a storage device that was ripping fast, ultra fast storage. And this is very appealing to many sectors. Post-production video, so like doing movies with animation, large file simulations with the US government. Under nuclear war, what would happen if you had this many megatons with this kind of bomb? And they've got all this data, and how do you compile it? Oil and gas, which would they have all this information, but then they would have to go ahead and make reports out of it. So this ultra-fast server could really help people that were working on large files and trying to do really advanced and great things. One huge hurdle we had, though, reliability, as in it wasn't very reliable, and it was killing us. The product just kept falling down. Could you imagine the director of a movie comes in the morning and he says, let me see the renderings from last night. Now what the renderings are, you've got maybe 30 artists that are working on the animation, and they turn everything in, and then they go ahead and they turn it into one file that all works together. And it could be, before we came along, there was days it would take to render all this and make it one file, and we could do it overnight. So this was a real breakthrough. So the director comes in and he says, let me see the renderings from last night. And they have to break the news to him. The storage unit went down last night. Again. Well, I mean, you're not going to survive very long, and you're not going to sell a lot of product. Now, they loved what was the potential of the product, but this was really making it difficult. So can you imagine, I own the sales number. Doesn't that make it a little bit harder to sell? You bet it did. And I've got a quota to make. It's not a quota to make if I have to deliver it. So it was really, really difficult. So one morning, I had just, Monday morning, I returned from a trip the week before, and it was grueling. I went to London, to Boston, New York, and Washington, and came home very late on Friday night. The CEO asked me to come into his office, and he disclosed to me while I was gone, they had made some important decisions for the company, and he wanted me to be fully up to speed, which was terrific. He says, we're going to go ahead and pause and rewrite the code. Up until then, we were putting Band-Aids on it, trying to make things more reliable and faster and all the other stuff you do when you've got an ultra-fast storage device. So they were going to rewrite the code from the ground up to improve reliability. And I thought, this is great. This is just what we need. And then he went on, we're going to be downsizing the company in order to conserve cash. Well, that makes perfect sense too. So I said, tell me more. And he said, with this, I hate to tell you, but we're eliminating your position. It took me a moment to process. I was stunned. I remember at the time focusing on not becoming emotional in his office. I said to him, I've been gone for a week, and I have some things I need to do this morning. You're the CEO. If this is the decision you made, I knew this wasn't going to be a conversation. I mean, he was just delivering the news they had, developed the week before. I said, I'll come back this afternoon and we can work out the details. And he said, sure. So I went straight to my office. I didn't talk to anyone. I grabbed my car keys off my desk. I went out to my car. I called my wife. And I said, where are you? She told me she was home. I said, stay there. Very unusual phone call that I would make. I headed home to break the news to her. And as my car left the parking lot and started out on the street, I was in tears. Hey, I'm 46 years old. I'm successful. I have money. And they were going to give me a package to land on. There was going to be several months of compensation they would give me. But this is painful. And I tell you this because I want you to know what it's like. And like me, with that job loss, when it happens to you, it will hurt. It will be emotional, but you're going to make it through it. Happens to lots of people. It's a gut punch that you get when you lose your job. You're often panicked. You experience self-doubt. Why me? Why not somebody else? And it's ironic. Just when you're starting a job search, you have to be positive and optimistic and enthusiastic and all the stuff that, will help you in a job search. You got to go from getting kicked to now being so excited. But that's exactly what you have to do. So how do you replace the panic of that job loss with a process where you're confident you're going to get a job better than the one you just lost or left, quickly and efficiently? And you can choose from those multiple offers. These search skills will work. They will give you great advantage. But you have to engage. And remember, by engaging and using these skills and getting better at them and repeating them through your search, you're going to be better at search itself. Now, job search is going to take some time. It always takes longer than you think. So my suggestion is you start right away. If they went ahead and paid you for 2 weeks, you say, well, I'll take a vacation for a week, then I'll start. No, 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 you can't afford that luxury. The other thing is idle time during a search is the enemy. You start second guessing yourself. You start second guessing your circumstances. What if this doesn't happen? What if that doesn't happen? So stay busy. Now let's run the plan. Once again, here's the job search formula, and you've seen this before. You take your brand, and hopefully you've been improving that over those several years you were at that company, that you're clearly much more formidable than you were, let's say, a year or 2 years ago. And your network, who you know and who they know. And you were following network operating procedures, and you were developing, putting them in your repository, and that's going to be a really important resource. And then you want to go ahead and engage in this high activity, process-based job search to get multiple offers from this search. For more details on this, head back to those previous sessions. High activity, process-based job search, informational interviews, working the career fair. All of them have lessons that we build on. And the reason I mention this is some people are doing this program sequentially, and some people are popping around from one topic to the other. This is where it's going to help you to see the whole breadth of the work. So let's talk about that day where this happened, the day of the job loss. You want to go ahead while you're in the office and you've just had the news delivered to you. You want to be able to keep your composure. You want to have empathy for the manager who has to deliver it. It's not his fault or her fault. The company went ahead and made these painful decisions. So you want to have empathy for the survivors, not only for the manager who delivered the message, but all of the survivors, your coworkers, because they're going to feel a sense of guilt. Oh my God, you're gone. And they don't know if they're about to be called in the office. So you want to be empathetic to the big picture. I would say to your boss, can I help you? Because I've got all sorts of notes and I'll transfer. And if I can get someone else up to speed so they can be more effective, I want to be a team player. Wow, that'll make you stand out. Ask them to keep your eyes open for you. They might say, I know a great place. Or they might call you up in 2 weeks and give you the lead that really changes your career. And then get out. If you want to gather some things from your desk or whatever the protocol is going to be, and then get out. After you leave the office that day, I want you to limit communications to anyone. And I want you to blow off some steam. Shooting some baskets in the gym, working out, or grabbing a few beers. Go ahead and blow off some steam. And just stay positive. All will be well. Start to imagine what the next great chapter in your career could be or will be. Immediately, I would turn off push notifications on my LinkedIn. You can Google or YouTube to go ahead and figure out how to do that. But with LinkedIn, if you're changing things about your profile, and you're going to be doing that as you're brushing that up as you're going off into a search, every time you make a change, it sends it out to your network. So you turn off the push notifications. Do not adjust LinkedIn to say, well, I don't work at that company anymore. No one does that. And I've never been called on that, and I've never called anyone out on that. When I see they're still at the company, people just do that until they get their next gig. So don't make an adjustment. You're going to be great at this. You'll be better at job search after this new search than before you started. if you've done this right, and I know you will. Okay, day one, you begin your normal work schedule. You wake up in the morning, take a shower, dress for work, whatever you typically do, make your bed. And if your workspace is at your home or apartment, make sure your workspace is ready to go. It's clean, it's organized, and you're in good shape. And you want to make sure it is ready to go and your priorities are clear for every day of your search. Organize your workspace, your car, your home, your attire to make sure that you're in really good shape. And if you do not have your own device, you might have your own smartphone, but if you don't have your own Mac or PC or your own software instances, you used your boss's, solve that, but this should never happen. You always want to make sure you've got a device, a laptop, or a desktop at home that is wired in. And remember when we went back to your network repository, how you make a change and it changes it in the cloud, it changes in all devices. You want to do that because often when you lose a job, they take the computer away. And oh my goodness, okay? But under what I've taught you how to do, you still have access to all this information because it's all interconnected. And you can't really run a search effectively from a smartphone alone. And you always want to be in the get ready to search mode because you can get blindsided and it can happen more than one time in your career. Be mindful and be prepared that employers do some checking before they hire you. They get really interested and then they want to do some checking. Now, one you want to be careful with is drug testing. You know, it's not a ton of companies do the testing, but you know, you can't ask that question on an interview. Hey, do you guys do drug testing? You know, they talk about a way that everything falls apart. And also the irony on you know, because we have all these changing laws, like marijuana, recreationally, medically, employers don't care. They've got a company policy, and even if it's legal where you're at, that can also knock you out if they can go ahead and catch that in a drug test. So, you know, the irony on this is things like hard drugs can be out of your system in a matter of days. But something like marijuana, which people say, well, this is harmless, and you be your own judge on that. I'm not making an editorial comment. But the fact is that takes nearly a month, 28 days to get out of your system. So, you know, you really want to be careful. So if you're going to start a job search and you recreationally do any of this stuff, stop. Because you can get blown out at the end in a job search. Then credit search. They take a look at your credit rating because they're saying, hey, maybe you join the finance department. If you can't manage your own credit, then they saying, well, how are they going to be with our money? Social media. Now, you want to run an audit. If employers are going to look, and many do, and that trend is rising and rising and rising, they're going to look at your social media. And is that impressive from what an employer wants? And if not, start to clean it up now. Alan Katzman, who's the founder of Social Assurity, I really love it, socialassurity.com. And he has this great quote. If you know they're going to be looking, and they are, give them something to see. So that's when you populate, your social media with stuff that reflects you're doing the right things, you're developing in your career, and you're really this career athlete that people are looking for in the marketplace. You want to revise your search collateral on day one. Go through your resume, go through your cover letter, revise your elevator pitch, maybe write it out. You know, when they ask you the question, tell me about yourself, that's the elevator pitch. Approximately 30 seconds. And you want that to flow. And if you had that down when you did another job or when you were interviewing for that last job, you've progressed in this, so you want to go ahead and update it. And then your purpose statement. This is how you answer the question, why are you on the market? And what are you looking for? And even if you got terminated for cause, they didn't think you were doing a good job and they let you go, how do you put a positive spin on it and be really, really positive when an employer says, so why'd you leave your last company? You want to go ahead and do that, and a purpose statement can help. If you need to, create a script when you reach out to your contacts. You can use YouTube for skills and enhancement. And again, leave LinkedIn the way it is and don't adjust the job that you just got laid off from. And then you want to deploy Job Search Radar. And you've seen this before. I would take this and then do search as and to do the date of this search. And that way you're going to reach back, and always in time, you'll see how you're progressing, and you can go ahead and build on top of this. Now, Job Search Radar, it has these things called triggers. And that's what the sections, why they have names. So jobs in play. This is the list of people that you now found out they are hiring. You're really interested. You're trying to get in the door, or you're in the door and you're trying to advance. So you go ahead and move anybody that feels like that. You move it into this category so you can quickly summarize where you are with your hottest leads. Dream jobs and employers. You want to work for a company, you don't even know if you're qualified or there'd be a position for you, write it down. This is a chance for you to swing for the fences. Recruiters. If you kept, good notes when you were working the career fair like we taught, you might have 10, 12 recruiters looking for early stage talent. Boy, will that be useful when you reach out to them and tell them you're making a job change and say you've got this experience, a bunch of great things happened at your last career, want to see if there's any opportunities. And boy, that can change your world. Companies that were at the career fair. You've got all this if you followed the whole system that we've given you over the course of this course. Campus cultivated, professors, guest speakers. If you've been putting that stuff together as part of your network, make sure that becomes notable and useful. And then you want to look at my contacts. Who do you know? And will that person be instrumental in helping you find your next gig? And then you can look at job boards as well. Things like Indeed or Handshake or Glassdoor. And you're going to go ahead and find all sorts of information. We're going to have actually a summary on some of these top sites in the resource section. But as you go through and you maybe find 3 or 4 things in Indeed that look really, really good to you, then you want to put them at jobs in play. Because if you have to look over here, for a job board, over here I got my notes, over here I've got some information in my contacts. I'm scattered all over the place. It's easy for me to drop a ball. You don't want that to happen. That's what Job Search Radar does. It pulls it all in under one purview that you can really stay up on it. And then you also want to keep track of known positions. So maybe you found something, but it's not for you. You don't want to go ahead and move forward on that, but you might be able to help someone along the way, and in turn, they may help you. So now you want to go to your repository. Remember, this is either going to be Google Docs or it's going to be Outlook, which is inside of what they're now calling Microsoft 365. And you want to go A to Z. Can this person help me with my search? Can this person help me with my search? And also, do you know them well enough that you can ask them, and move that along? When you get done with that, so you're putting that all on Job Search Radar, you go ahead and LinkedIn, you go A to Z, same thing. There'll be some duplicates because people are in both places, but you just want to go ahead and make sure you're going through and you're getting this list of robust contacts that can help you. Again, you're going to have a lot of balls up in the air, and also the timing. Some of these job searches you have just like engaged maybe 2 days ago, and another one you've been talking for a month, so they're at different stages. It's hard to keep track about that. So you want to go ahead and be well organized. This is key to your search. Now, in subsequent days, all administrivia. You're not talking live with someone. Try to do it outside of 9 to 5. That's your prime communications hours. That's where you can engage with people and follow up with people. Update Job Search Radar as you make progress with new targets, and you engage in follow-up. Job search radar essentially should really contain prospective employers or people who could or might lead you to prospective employers. That's it. And then where you are on that trajectory to do great and get multiple offers. Now, every day, and let me tell you something, a job search, you got ups and downs emotionally. But every day, to anyone who asks, things are great. Be positive, even if you're feeling down. If you're feeling down and say, how are things going? Oh, they're really great. I mean, the market's really good, even if it's not. That's what people want to hear. And are you lying? No, you're telling the truth in advance, because as you engage and you're positive and you're going forward, things will turn around. Respect those prime communications hours so you can go ahead and contact more people. The more people you talk to, the better the outcome of the search. Keep activity high. Use networking standard operating procedures to stand out and build your network as you're doing this. An example script, to connect live from my contacts. Hello, I'm Alan McMillan, just reaching out to say hello. Love to connect with you by phone or Zoom just to see how you've been doing. We haven't talked in a while. Also, I'm in the middle of a job search. It's incredibly exciting. The market's great, and I'm finding lots of choices. But I want to be really, really careful, so I want to get your perspective on how you see the market. And I want a place that not only I fit, but that I can make a powerful contribution. I wanted to get your thoughts on the market and what you think's hot going forward. And, really what looks good to you. It'd be great to catch up. And you just ad-lib from there. When you've reached out to your last contact, go back up to the top of the list and run it again. And now you're giving them an update. Hey, I think I talked to you about 5 weeks ago. And let me tell you, this happened, and this happened. And it's really good. Love to connect with you. And that's really, really, really going to help you. And usually jobs come from or through the assistance of people you know. And when you land your next job, thank everyone you reached out to. So what I usually do in the notes section of the repository, I go ahead and I would say like job search 2021 in the notes. Then I can search for that and I can send out a note and say, let me tell you where I landed. I'm really, really excited. I thank you for, getting on the phone with me and giving me some input and advice. And that further, strengthens your network. As far as interviewing, I tell you this. You want to go ahead and prepare for at least 8 hours. Interviews are too hard to get to blow them. You want to do research via Google and Google News. And we covered this in Working the Career Fair, so review that as well. You want to go ahead and use LinkedIn, and you want to use your own network. You're looking for employees, former employees, competitors, industry partners. And remember, you can get more information on researching in the career fair section, and then LinkedIn searching in the informational interview section. What's the problem that they're trying to solve? You always want to know that in an interview. You can ask that question. I mean, why are you making this hire? What's important? And then you want to position yourself as part of the solution to that objective they have in that organization. Follow-up is critical along the way. And when you get down to, a short list and things are getting more serious, then you can deploy things like Google Alerts to keep you up to speed. And keep momentum consistent. Again, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. Keep up with activity. Continue looking. You don't have a job when someone makes you an offer unless it's in writing and there's no contingents. And if it's not in writing or it has contingents on it, keep looking. Don't stop your search. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, they tell you, I'm sorry, we just had a freeze on new hires. And all of a sudden, you let the momentum of your search go down. Never, never, never. Review job search radar daily or more. And don't drop a ball. Follow up and follow up well. And the follow-up is a way that employers can see how thorough they're going to be working with me. Good luck. You're about to make this the best, worst thing that ever happened to you, and it's within your control. Now go forth and own this search. See you next time.